What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. I'm your host, Jay Nixon, and I'm happy you're here. So, as you know, if you've listened to this podcast before, if it's your first time, the objective and the mission of this podcast is to disrupt your current way of thinking, inspire you to think differently, and give you the skills and the knowledge and the tools to transform your way of thinking, your way of believing, your way of speaking, your way of acting into a system that allows you to live the life that you want to live, allows you to win. That's what we're all about here is we want you to win, and we want you to win big. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about the I don't have time mindset. So in this fitness world, and pretty much in every aspect, in every area of life, someone is saying right now, I don't have time. So really what time boils down to is perspective and priorities, right? I think we can all pretty much agree on that. But this I don't have time mindset is really killing you. It's holding you back. It's keeping you from achieving the things that you want to achieve in life. But it's easy because we can all rely on it anytime we want, and nobody really disagrees with it because everybody else wants you to perceive that they're busy or they don't have time. So nobody ever gives you an objection to that BS excuse. I'm going to show you an example today of how you do have time if you just shift your priorities and you just shift your perspective. So we're going to use the elf on the shelf as the example for this particular podcast. Now, I'm not disparaging the elf on the shelf. I don't have kids, so I don't have an elf on the shelf. I tried to bring one in. Rudy said, if you don't get that sumbitch out of here, it's me or him. So the elf had to go. We didn't even get to bring him in. Rudy won't even let me watch Elf on with Will Ferrell on TV. Great movie. So I'm not disparaging elves, the elf, whatever elf it is that you're into. I think the guy or the gal, it's probably had to be a lady. I mean, they're way smarter than dudes. Whoever invented this idea, genius, billionaire probably. I mean, because most of you guys started out with one elf, and now you've got 2, 3, 4. I've seen people with 4 damn elves, right? And so this thing is metamorphosized, is that even a word, metamorphosized, into something that is very, very time consuming. So for about 30 days every year, so let's talk about a 30-day time block. Let's talk about a 30-day chunk of time. If you focused on anything in your life, your job, making money, your health and fitness, for 30 days as hardcore as you focus on this elf or elves on a shelf, think about where you'd be. And I'm going to give you some ideas here. I'm going to give you some suggestions. I'm going to give you some different ways to look at this. Because really all I'm asking you to do is to change your perspective when you say, I don't have time. It's really just about your priorities. Because you wouldn't think of not doing this whole little elf on the shelf thing. And it's not as simple as putting the damn elf on the shelf, right? I see, because first of all, you're taking the time to post it on Facebook, or that's the only way I would even know about it because I don't have a kid. And so you guys are going to these elaborate scenarios and these elaborate schemes. And like some of you, one lady built a damn new wing on her home and put the elf in there with a carpenter's hat on and a hammer. So her kids would think that this elf constructed the new wing of her house just so she could get a new bathroom. That's how elaborate some of you guys are going, the measures you're going to with this damn elf. I guarantee some of you are having to go to the store to get things, props, and different things to set this elf up in to make him look like he's blasting off into space, to make him look like he's fighting with another. I mean, I have seen some of the most elaborate elf on the shelf things that you could even imagine. I know you've seen them too. You're probably doing them, and that's my point. So let's take this down to a really granular level. So let's just say you're doing this for about 30 days, which is really what you guys do it for, right? You start maybe December 1st and you do it until Christmas Day. I don't know if you do it the day after Christmas. I don't know when the whole thing ends, but it's about 30 days. So you have to plan for this, right? You have to be strategic because you can't set up the scenario and have Jimmy, John, or Lucy Lou come out of the bedroom and be like, holy shit, Mom, what are you doing? I didn't know. I thought the elves were doing all this, right? So you have to strategically plan for this elaborate scenario to go down with the elf. One elf is skydiving from the ceiling fan. The other one's flying a jet. Like, you've got to plan for that so that the little kid doesn't come out of the bedroom and be like, what's going on? I thought, who knew you were doing this, Mom and Dad? Right? So that takes planning, that takes timing, that takes scheduling. All 3 of those things are all you need for anything to be successful in life. If you can plan, time it, and schedule it, you can be successful with anything. Fitness, eating healthy. People tell me all the time, I don't know how to cook. Like, I don't know how to cook, but you can think of these elaborate schemes and scenarios for this elf to be like coming out of like quicksand glitter, and he's reaching up for like to get help from the other elf who's holding a stick, and it's like it blows my mind. But you can't figure out how to use 3 ingredients in a pan and stir it up and put some spices in there and set the oven to 450 and put that bad boy in there and tell Alexa to set a timer. You can't pull that off, but you can pull off the greatest elf on the shelf scenario storytelling. I mean, some of these stories are like, they're chronological. They start on day 1, and by day 30, the elf on the shelf ends up in the manger and greets baby Jesus. And it's a whole big production. There's a marching band that comes out that morning. It's a whole thing, but you can't go for a walk. You can't go to the gym. You can't prioritize your success in your business, but you can do all these other things. Think about that for a second, right? So that's just like a perspective shift. Like if you would focus as hardcore, and listen, you should be doing this. You should be mesmerizing your kids, and all the reason the elf on the shelf is even created. I'm not disparaging that. I'm saying if you can do that, you can really take the time to do anything. You can plan to do anything. You can schedule to do anything, because it's got to be pretty difficult. I'm assuming to make sure your kids are in bed, nice and tidy and tucked in, aren't going to get up. You got to probably be nervous about that. What's that noise? Are they coming out? Like, because you don't want to blow the whole thing, right? You don't want to blow the secret. That's got to take some planning and some strategy and some timing and some thought. But yet you don't have time for yourself in any other facet. And I would fast forward to like 20 years from now, when there's no more elf on the shelf, right? Your kids are doing elf on the shelf for their kids. And your kid looks back and says, well, what, if you would have taken the same amount of time to take care of yourself as you did for that damn elf on the shelf, you might not be in this health scenario or situation. That's hard for a lot of you guys to perspectualize. That's not even a word, perspectualize. I'm making up a lot of words today, guys, but just flow with me. You know what I'm talking about. It's hard for you to conceptualize yourself 20 years from now in the scenario that you're in based on the decisions you're making now. And all I'm trying to bring light to is the disruption factor of how you're thinking now might not be what's going to get you to where you want to be in the next 10, 15, 20 years, whenever your health is now then a situation. It's now then a priority, just like this elf on the shelf is a priority now. It's in a priority because you want your kids to be happy. But you know what's going to make your kids happy in 20 years? When mom and dad are happy and healthy. Not when mom and dad have health problems. Not when mom and dad are so overweight they can't play with the grandkids. You know what I mean? Not when mom and dad are so overweight they can't even go see the grandkids because they can't travel. When the grandkids have to go, I used to have to go see my grandfather in the hospital. That's where I saw my grandfather. I used to have to go see my grandfather. He was on an oxygen machine 24/7 because he had emphysema. He was such out in bad shape, smoker his whole life. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I would have foregone all that elf on the shelf shit. We didn't have it back then, but if we did, I would have foregone all that to see him, you know what I mean? Doing life, being able to go places. He could never come watch me play any sports. I always wanted to so bad, love me like no tomorrow. Couldn't go because he couldn't breathe. I know that just took a weird shift and a weird turn, but it is really how you got to start thinking. If I've got the time now to do all this creative stuff with this tiny little stuff thing that really brings some joy and brings some value to the kids' lives at this stage, but what's going to bring the real value and the real joy? You know what I mean? That's mom and dad being happy, healthy, and wealthy for the rest of their lives. So if you can just use this little perspective shift of, if I've got the time for this, then maybe I've got the time for that. Maybe it's just a scenario switch. Maybe it's just that, flipping that switch in the brain of, if I can get that creative with all of these like scenarios that I put these elves into, why can't I get creative in the kitchen? Why do I have to go through a drive-through every day? You know what I mean? If I can spend the time and the effort it takes to plan all of these things, why can't I spend the time and the effort to take care of myself? Plan that walk every day. Plan that walk at lunch. Plan that workout after work. Plan that workout before work. Why can't I plan that, schedule that, time that, like I'm timing all of this? What if you did this? What if you, after the elf goes away, put him on the shelf for the next, 11 months? What if you took that next 30 days and just put yourself, you're the elf on the shelf, and you put yourself in scenarios to win, health and fitness wise, financially, everything. Like you put yourself in scenarios to win for 30 days. You planned it, you timed it, you scheduled it. What would that look like? What would your life look like at the end of that 30 days? You see how you can just shift perspective and you can like use the things you're doing now that you're spending time and effort and resources and creativity and thought processes and everything on. If you just shift, don't get rid of it. When the elf goes back in the box and you put him up in the attic or all of them up in the attic or wherever they go for the 11 months to hibernate, if you took that same energy you're using right now and you just shifted it over here and you considered yourself to be the elf on the shelf, but yet you're not setting up these elaborate scenarios, you're just taking care of yourself. You're making decisions that are going to prolong your longevity. You're making health and fitness decisions. You're eating better. You're planning time and scheduling for you. Just for 30 days. Don't go crazy, right? Let's don't blow this out of proportion. And then after 30 days, we'll reassess, we'll reevaluate. But what if you did that? What if you just shifted that perspective and made that change? I think I know what would happen. I think I know what your life would look like. But I'd like to see you do it. I'd like to see you make that shift. I'd like to see you use that same frame of reference you've got right now. You don't even have to do it. Here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to do anything differently than you're doing right now because humans hate change, right? Just take the same time, the same effort, the same planning, the same scheduling, the same fear of, I see it on there like, oh my God, I almost forgot to do the elf on the shelf. What if you felt that way about your workout? What if you're like, oh my God, I almost forgot to go work out today? You know how good a shape you'd be in? Holy shit, I almost forgot to eat healthy today. Nobody thinks like that. But if you forget the health, holy moly, I mean, the world could come to an end. I've seen parents do it. The world could come to an end. If you forget to move did you forget to move? I've seen husbands and wives get in fights about it. You didn't move the elf. I thought you were going to move it's a big deal. What if you were a big deal? You see how you can just take the same shit, shift the energy, shift the thought, shift the way you're thinking about it, perspective. The world is about the way your world is conceived by your perspective of it. If you will just shift that perspective, you do have time. You do have creativity. You are smart enough. You can plan it. You can time it. You have everything you need. What if you just did that? And what if you gave it the same power, the same energy, and the same love that you give this tiny little stuffed elf? And I know you're not giving the elf the love, right? It's for the kids. But what if you shifted that and thought, me taking care of myself, that's even more valuable than me putting this little elf out here, isn't it? Because it's long term. The elf's going to go away when they get to be like 14, I assume this, hell, I don't know. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You're not putting elf on the shelf for like an 18-year-old. I assume this. So what's more valuable then? You taking care of yourself, right? You showing your kids like what that looks like. Like one of my clients said the other day, like I saw their kid was cooking. And I said, one of the greatest gifts my mother ever gave me was teaching me how to cook. I can cook anything. And she said, yeah, now I got to get him to start cooking, quote unquote, J approved. That's what we call it in my program. If you're eating J approved, that means it's, you're eating healthy. And so why not do that? Why teach them how to make, and listen, when I grew up learning how to make gravy from scratch and biscuits and you name it, I grew up in the South, so it was very unhealthy food, but I shifted that perspective, but I didn't shift it until I got older. So what if that mom started teaching that kid right now, like what healthy food looked like? The shift in perspective is really all that boils down to, right? It's just shifting your perspective, taking the same energy, because it's the same energy to cook. It's the same energy to show them how to make gravy from scratch than it is how to make something really, really healthy from scratch. It's the same energy, same level, same everything. You're just shifting perspective. You're just displacing something from here and moving it over here. If we look at life that way, it makes things very simple. It makes things very easy. Life's not complicated. We complicate it, right? Health and fitness isn't complicated. We complicate it. It's not meant to be challenging. It's not meant to be hard. It's not meant to be confusing. Simplify the process. And you can do that by just shifting your perspective. Guys, here's what I want you to do. Keep doing the elf, rock and roll. I love that. Take that mindset of the elf, and when it's time for him to go hibernate for 11 months, I want you to take that same energy, that same level of commitment, that same level of there's no way I won't do this tonight for my children. I want you to take that same energy and put it on you. There's no way I won't do this now for my children and for me. And then I want you to do one other thing. I want you to go to Wellness Lab Launchpad on Facebook right now. It's a free group. It's called Wellness Lab Launchpad. It's got a rocket ship taking off. It's my free Facebook group. It's where I give you free knowledge, free information, free tactics, free tips on wellness, on meals, movement, mindset. I'm a mindset freak, guys. It's what I love. It's the differentiator that I know will get you to the next level. You know what to eat. I just got to get you to believe that you need to eat that. You know how to move. I just got to get you to believe that you deserve to move your body because someday you're going to have to. You want to make it your choice, right? You don't want your body to be dictating to you. You want to dictate to it. So I'm going to give you strategies. You're going to get more of stuff like this. You're going to get great interviews. You're going to get great perspective from people that I've helped change their lives with hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Go there now, Wellness Lab Launchpad. I promise you, it's a free group. I'll ask you for nothing. It's not true. I will ask you for something. I'll ask you to take advantage of the opportunity in the lifetime of the opportunity, meaning go there. It's not going to cost you a penny. Go there, get information, get knowledge. The greatest gift that I've ever been given is knowledge, because then I can take it and I can utilize it in my life. I can take knowledge. I can turn knowledge into money. I can turn knowledge into power. I can turn knowledge into health and fitness. I can turn knowledge into everything, but without it, I got nothing. Come to this group, guys. It's an amazing group of people. You're going to get access to me. You can ask me any question you want to ask me. I'll help you. I'll get you to where you want to go. I'll motivate you to be your own elf on the shelf. So Wellness Lab Launchpad, it's a free Facebook group. Go there now. Check it out. Guys, thanks for listening to this episode. If you love this episode, please subscribe. Please give me a review on iTunes. That helps this podcast get seen by more and more people, which I believe it needs to be. I believe we've got to keep disrupting. We've got to keep inspiring, and we got to keep transforming, right? That's the only way we're going to get to where we want to go in life, and we can't go alone. We got to go together. So if you love this episode, share it with a friend, share it with family, put it on social media, give me a shout out. Let me know what you think. Send me a private message. Let me know what you want to hear more of. What do you want? What do you want to know? What do you want me to talk about? Let me know. I'll do anything. I want to help you. This podcast is designed to help you get further faster. That's all it's for. It's to help give you information, knowledge, strategies, and tools that will help you get to where you want to go in life. That's it. All right, guys. Wellness Lab Launchpad. Go join it. Love you. I'll see you super soon. All right. Bye.